Last week in Denmark, the Knutsens had a little baby girl they named Emma. That same day, the Smiths had a little baby in the United States and they called her Rachel. Right now, they're just two little babies keeping their parents awake at night. But people in the US and Denmark have very different priorities, and that's going to lead to different futures for Emma and Rachel. It all boils down to this. Though Danes pay a lot more than Americans in taxes and government fees, they get a whole lot more back in the form of social services. As a result, Americans end up spending twice as much out of pocket for those same social goods and services. In 6 months, Emma will probably enroll in preschool. By law, every 6-month-old Danish baby is guaranteed high-quality preschool, and parents can't be charged more than a quarter of the costs. Parents who can't afford it, well, they don't have to pay. Back in the US, the Smiths make too much to qualify for a Head Start preschool program. So they'll either have to park little Rachel with Dale's mom, or one of them will have to get a second job to help pay for daycare. That little luxury could set the Smiths back as much as $22,000 a year. It costs a lot to raise kids these days, no matter where you live, but the Knutsens will enjoy a child benefit that starts at $225 a month. And when Emma hits age 7, they'll get $140 a month until she's 17. And that benefit isn't based on how much money a family earns. It's something that everyone with a child gets. Back in the US, little Rachel's learning some cool baby tricks so she can get into a good preschool and land a spot in a decent elementary school that will prepare her for a high school that will help her get into college. Some American schools are world-class, but others, often serving students from low-income families, can rank down there with those in developing countries. That means the Smiths may soon be shopping for a house in another school district, a notion that would never even occur to the Knutsens because public schools in Denmark are pretty much all world-class. Emma and Rachel are good students, and they'll both go to college when they get older. In Denmark, almost every college student attends public colleges and universities which don't charge tuition. Rachel will navigate a very different educational system. She'll probably end up with a good deal of debt. In the US, 71% of the class of 2015 graduated with student loan debt, averaging around 35 grand. Fresh out of school, the young women enter the workforce, and there they'll have different experiences too. If Rachel is lucky, she'll get 2 weeks a year of paid vacation, but maybe not. The US is the only industrialized nation that doesn't require it. Emma, like most full-time workers in Denmark, is guaranteed 5 weeks of paid vacation time. And that doesn't include the 9 public holidays, and many Danes then enjoy a 6th week of paid vacation around Christmas. Add it up, and you're looking at 7 weeks of paid vacation, which really lets you relax like a Viking. Danes and Americans have similar incomes, but Americans work about a quarter more hours. That means that Danes get to spend about an hour and a half more each day on leisure activities than Americans. When Rachel loses her job, she'll qualify for unemployment benefits that cover about half of her income, usually up to half a year. Emma will lose a job at some point too. Hey, it happens to the best of us, but she'll get up to 90% of what she was making, and she can collect that for up to 2 years and sometimes more. Now, some people will say those generous benefits create a culture of dependency and discourage people from looking for work, but 73% of working-age Danes have a paid job compared with just 60% of Americans. And Emma will always have access to an excellent public health care system. In Denmark, everyone's covered. Americans spend 2.5 times as much per person on health care as the Danes, but around 1 in 8 are still uninsured. Someday, Emma and Rachel will both have babies themselves. Emma won't have to pay anything for childbirth, but Rachel will have to pay around $5,000 out of pocket for a normal delivery. Rachel also lives in the only advanced economy that doesn't mandate paid family leave. She can take some unpaid time, but for most women, there's no guarantee that her job will be waiting for her when she gets back to work. In fact, 1 in 4 American women quit or are laid off when they have a baby, so they lose seniority and end up with an uneven work history. According to one study, each child lowers an American woman's earnings by 6 to 8%. Emma and her partner, on the other hand, will be able to divide a full year of paid parental leave between them. Many Danes have union contracts that pay 100% of their salaries during that time, but if they don't, the government will give them around $600 a week while they're on leave. This is one reason why the gender pay gap is around 3 times bigger in the US than it is in Denmark. Emma and Rachel will watch their kids grow up, and then they'll look to enjoy their golden years. As an average American, Rachel will work 2 years longer than Emma. Emma's pension will be about 2/3 of her pre-retirement income, while Rachel's Social Security checks will cover less than half of what she had earned. So you get the picture. Emma will have lived her life under the crushing burden of democratic socialism, that combination of state-funded education, health care, parental leave, and plenty of other benefits has made the citizens of Denmark the second happiest people in the world. And Americans, we're number 15.